So, Spud, how was your week?
I've been having that weird thing, you know, when you read a book and then something happens and you're like, "That's why did you do that to me, book? Why? what did I do to you to annoy you?" It's like there was reality transurfing stuff happening the whole time when we were reading that one, and then there was Tree of Life stuff when I was reading a couple of those Tree of Life books. But then, like, and you don't know whether it's like, okay, has that been planted there, or is this just a synchronicity, or is this just a coincidence?
Are you just noticing it more?
Or you're just noticing. And the other night, in one of INGRAM's many lists, on his many pages, in that fucking tome of a book,
Mastering the Core Teacher of the Buddha, for those listening.
He says that one of the signs is that you're kind of on the right path and you're going towards enlightenment, is that you start noticing this ringing in your ears, which isn't just a normal silence. And I went, motherfucker, I was lying in bed the other night and I could hear this, and I went, no, come on, no, that's annoying, I'm trying to sleep. And it's been 3 or 4 nights now.
It's not just tinnitus, no?
No, it's not.
Tinnitus is a spiritual disease. It's telling you you're on the right path.
No, I definitely not have that. I've done tests to make sure, because I did freak myself out that I had that. I was telling you a couple of month or two ago that I thought I had it temporarily and was freaked out. But then there was another one about your weight being all over the place, because like I'm eating exactly the same amount as I normally did.
Normally
dud. And I'm the lightest I've been now since I got married, and I just like it, and it's gone like I was losing weight over Christmas.
Right.
I don't know how I did that. I don't know.
INGRAM should get you the INGRAM diet. How to lose weight using mindfulness, Vipassana.
So I don't know, but like at the same time, it's like, it almost feels that, like, right, I know.
Is INGRAM suggesting that fat people can't be awakened? Is that what he said? Like, is that his inference?
So you have to be left-handed. Yeah, we've established that from a couple of weeks ago, or last week. You have to be left-handed. You have to have been in a rock band when you were a teenager, so you have no ear sockets left. Eardrums are busted. And what else? You need to shave your head every 5 days, according to Ken Wilber.
Ken Wilber, yeah.
And then you wear a wig.
Wig in your 70s. Yeah.
The wig thing. He looks fabulous, in fairness.
He does. But fabulous is the word. Like, he looks fabulous.
Yeah, fabulous is it. Fair play to you, Ken. And it's I don't know. I think it's just something that's been planted in there. My mind is just kind of fucking with me, because I don't. But it's mad.
It's interesting that tonight is sort of hiss, or not the hiss, the buzzing thing. Kingsley goes on about the hiss that arrives in meditation as well. This kind of noise, a background thing. So it's the same. Hiss is not a ringing, of course, but it's odd that there's the two kind of similar type ideas. Do you ever get suddenly like a spider sense thing happening to you, where you get a sudden kind of high pitched thing that lasts about 20 seconds, 30 seconds? That kind of
high pitch. No.
No, and it's I get that sometimes. And it's not tinnitus either, because
it's like the thing where Homer Simpson goes crazy. Is that one? Not Homer Simpson. Apu goes crazy in the shop. He's worked like 72 hours straight or something.
Oh, right. No, it's not. It's like the best way to start is a spider. You know, my spider sense is tingling, but it happens to me, and I go, "Oh, what am I meant to be paying attention to?" And I can never find anything. It's just like right, it's just some weird thing in my ear. But the fact that it's mentioned, there's just sudden need to be a wrestler. It's very weird. But yeah. There's like I suppose does INGRAM, it's been a while since I read the book, does he say that it's a thing to be ignored or to cultivate, or like that they say?
No, he says
the magic
it's just
powers,
one of the things
you shouldn't ignore them if they turn up. It's just a thing.
No, he said it's just one of the things that happens. I'm doing fairly well with it now. I'm going through it, but like I haven't got to the magic power stuff yet. I think that's part 5 or something. I'm on starting part 4, I think.
Right.
You know, so like I've just gone through, like last night, demolished all of the different types of awakenings that aren't awakening. So there's the God awakening, there's the physical awakening, there's the silence awakening, there's I think one of them is like the modern social media awakening or something like that.
Right.
And just going through it, that's all shite. You know, so
I don't think that was in the first version of the book, which is the one I read originally. And I don't think the magic and the powers were in it, although it's like, again, it's been so long. So I know he did update an awful lot.
Yeah. We had a strange coincidence last night, didn't we, when we were talking about stuff, and it literally came up in the book.
Yeah.
I had just read it. So what, do you want me to read it, or do you want to tell people first?
No, you go first. You go first.
Oh, I should have had the page ready. 363. If anyone wants to follow along, this is page 363 of Daniel Ingram's door-stopping book. And I'm just also looking for the page and trying to buy some time. As I said before, that's not me, no, that's Ingram. Working on our psychological stuff can have lots of values, and Western psychology has added a vast array of useful conceptual frameworks and techniques to the world of psychological health and human development, but I firmly believe that clearly drawing the line between insight practice and psychological work is essential to doing either well. I've been to therapy and really got a lot out of it, just on a totally different front from what insight practices got me. So there's a little bit more after as well, but that's enough talking. Nobody likes listening to people talking on podcasts.
Well,
yeah, because you were telling me.
Yeah.
What were you telling me yesterday?
Well, see, the thing is, one of the main things that's been put out as meditation is that it's the greatest, panacea in the world. It's the thing that can only do good for you, or whatever. And Ingram, from as far as I can see, one of the few people who goes, no, it can fuck your life. You can go in. It's kind of that similar thing, I suppose, if people go, oh, psilocybin mushrooms, it's great for mental health, and one dose will cure your depression. Yeah, that's will fuck you up massively. You know what I mean? Like I know people like from back in the day who took too much, whatever, and it has really affected their lives and made them unable to cope. And it's not. I don't think it's just that kind of a blanket statement of saying that meditation, it's just perfect. It says, well, it can get you into the shadowy places. It can expose certain parts of your life or your inner workings that you might, that we have this kind of saying or this kind of belief that if something arrives, it's you're able to deal with it or it wouldn't have come up and all that. And I don't think that's true, and it's obviously not true because so many things happen to people that they're not able to deal with. So it's not. Doesn't seem to have an exact system, but there is a good podcast on Buddhist Geeks that he talks about. I sent you the link. If I remember, I'll put it in the show description. But if I don't, just search Daniel Ingram. I think it's Dark Night of the Soul or Buddhist Geeks, and you'll find it anyway. And he's just talking about how it can lead to psychotic breaks and these kind of things, and to be aware of it. And that's why there's the kind of importance of, I suppose, having a meditation teacher or some sort of people around you, that you can, if it all goes a bit south, that you can, talk to people who have had similar experiences or don't. It's like, say you have a meditation and something goes insane. You can't really go and talk to your mum about it because she doesn't, unless your mum has been doing meditation. But you know what I mean? Or, you need to talk to some sort of, community or Shanga or whatever the correct word is. But just the kind of notion that we have that all of meditation is only good, it's all perfect. Google mindfulness, it's like corporate mindfulness, taking away all the actual teachings around it and just doing the techniques because it makes you a more productive bee. Yeah,
it was funny that obviously that's just where I am in the book with the Dark Night or Dark Night of the Soul would be the Christian version of it type of stuff. And then, yeah, because we were talking about something completely different, and then you sent me that, and I went, "Holy shit, Tommie, man, that's exactly the fucking page I'm on here. That's mad." But obviously he's dead right. I've told you before. Make it quick. Just at first, the book was a bit of a struggle for me. I wasn't getting it, but then after learning a little bit more about Buddhism as a whole, I'm no fucking expert or anything. But then I've really gotten to grips with just how much he knows about it. It's mental, it's incredible. And so when someone says something like that, you got to believe him because, I agree with you though. Meditation is there and you will turn up a lot of bad stuff. But a lot of times you're not going to be able to battle that on your own. You are going to seek help. You are going to need help. And whether you go to a shrink or whether it's through your meditation class, well, fucking go with one of them anyway and get some help. But but from my point of view, I think going to a shrink would be better. Yeah,
I think so too. But when I was saying that, have a teacher or stuff around you, I meant, if it's difficult, not if something, actual needs to be dealt with, of course, go and get, professional help. Because that whole thing of, we have meditation teachers and stuff like that, but you have to, query qualifications and that. What's a qualification in meditation? And that he went to India and hung around an ashram for a year, and now he come back or whatever. Like, I mean, it's same as with any of these things, like Reiki or any of these things. There's kind of a weird qualification where you can do like a workshop over the weekend, and now you can heal people. Excuse me, But yeah, so like, I mean, qualified people would be people who've gone to actual college and studied the thing, and have passed some exams, maybe done a bit of counselling themselves, all that things that you have to do. But that's not to dismiss all meditation teachers, obviously, like that. But it's just time and place, and the thing.
Yeah, he gets really serious in those parts of the book as well. He pulls out his physician card, he calls it, and it's the only time he does it. He's like, look, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
But he makes this argument that like there are times when like people are going through these dark night of the soul moments, and they get misdiagnosed then as like being bipolar or something, when actually no, they're not bipolar, they're just having a terrible time, and it just kind of got me thinking about like how I ended up going into a shrink, because it was very similar to that. I mean, I don't know, Tommy, but I've said this to you before, maybe that's why some of this stuff just seems to come a little bit more easy to me, because I've had my awful years are behind me, hopefully. God, I hope nothing bad is coming down the line, because if it's worse than what I was before, then I'm out, But like,
so if you haven't already crossed the abyss, Jesus, lads, come on now.
I don't mean crossing the abyss in like a tree of life kind of way, but I'm just mean like I've been to the bottom, and it wasn't through meditation that I got out. It was through seeking some help. I mean, something came out the other day as well that brought it back to me as well. There was I don't know where I saw it. It must have been Reddit, because it's pretty much the only place I get news anymore. They were saying it's not even news, actually. Well, it's kind of news.
Opinion.
Suicide. No. Well, it was from a news thing, but it was put on Reddit by someone, and they were saying that after Robin Williams' suicide.
I've seen that too.
Suicide spiked in the US. They were at the highest they'd
like 30% or something mental.
Crazy, big jump. And that was my trigger. Yeah. When Robin Williams killed himself, I was like, well, if he can be that unhappy and miserable, and I'm already unhappy and miserable, I need to see someone. Yeah. And so I just got looking on Google, found a psychologist that speaks English here, and she was more than happy to take my money. Yeah. A lot of it.
I can only imagine.
Oh, of course I'll help you fix your brain.
Maybe 3 times a week.
You're going to have to give me a lot of your money. Maybe cut out a bit of your kidney or your liver, whichever one. I'm Irish. I can't give you my liver. Jesus, like, she's okay then. We'll sort something out. But I still remember. I remember just going like, if that can happen to someone like him who seems so happy, and I didn't know he was having so much trouble in his life, because I'm not into celebrity
gossip
stuff, But it was just like, right, that's I need to talk to someone, because if that can happen to him, it can definitely happen to me. I used to sit there at night time just looking out at the balcony and just going, I can kill myself now and be grand. And then I thought, no, actually it won't be grand, because I'll wake up and she'll look for me, and then she'll ring my phone, she'll hear my phone. So I'll jump off and I'll take my phone with me, so that when it rings, it'll be ringing on the ground, and then she won't find me dead. Someone else will find me, but someone will have to tell her, fuck, how do I sort this out? And I was like, and then she'll blame herself, and then my dad will blame themselves. Okay, no, I won't bother killing myself then today. I'll these are the thoughts I had. It's just idolized suicide, just going, I can, if I'm dead, I don't think anyone really miss me that much. It'd be all right, like. But then I don't want them to blame themselves, because it's just me, like, for months, Tommy, this was my head,
I remember when I was on antidepressants at that time, and it just became, my constant thought was planning suicide and all that. But it's interesting when you talk. I never once would think about other people, though. It was like very odd. It was all about just kind of idolizing the whole thing, and kind of, I just want out of here. I don't really care about it all thing. But there was a whole kind of underlying kind of, which is great, because I caught it in the end, was like going, this seems like an external thing you know, as if someone's whispering in your ear going, "Oh, you could do that," you know. But then there was a point where I said, right, if we're going to do it, let's fucking do it. And then it was like, right, let's do it. And then I went, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? Like it was like, but I had to get to the point. But it was so weird that so I didn't understand. That was. Yeah, I think there was about 3 months I was on them for, and I was like constantly. Just that's all my thoughts were about it. It's horrible. Oh,
it's just horrible. And then this other voice would be like, you're too much of a coward to even do it because you're afraid of other people's shame. That's a fucking mindfuck. You know what I mean? And while all this is going on, I get pregnant.
Nice.
You know, I don't have a lot of work on. You know, we were literally eating noodles and sausages. You know the noodles you buy in the packet you pour the hot water on?
Oh, like the good taste of cooking
fucking
noodles.
Broke, you know? Yeah. And like all this is going on and you're just like, okay. And then Robin Williams, my hero, kills himself. Yeah, okay, yeah, I need to talk to someone. This has gone on long enough, you know. So,
but there are factors in that too. Is like that in a sense. Well, you have the big change. You know, you're going to be a dad. All these type of things. So there's all that kind of worry and stress that comes with that. But like you were going through a bad time, and like an appropriate response to that is to be kind of, you know, in some way not happy about it. You know, it's like it's just that it spirals too much or something. It's unable to bottom it out. Like which is the kind of thing that kind of annoys me a bit, I suppose, about the type of Kabbalion stuff that we've talked about. This kind of forced positivity and gratitude. There is points where you have to go, no, this is shit. You know, and I recognise, but it's very hard to go with this is shit and not go wee into the darkness.
Yeah. Oh, I think the hardest part for me was owning it. You know, realising that a lot of the stuff's my fault.
Yeah.
You know? Or a lot of stuff actually wasn't my fault, but I was shouldering the blame because I thought it was my fault.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And like learning the difference between them and even seeing it, it's just fucking like, yeah, that's your dark night of the soul there, like, you know, just going. I told you before, like just coming out of the therapy and just cutting off people, just not replying to messages, calls, nothing. Just like, no, I'm not friends with them anymore. They're just a fucking, what's the word? Energy vampire. I made friends of ours over on Sunday, and. God, I was wrecked after talking to them. Just the energy was set. We were driving home, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm wrecked." Just they've sucked the life out of me, you know. Because you go and meet someone, and you're like, "Oh yeah, we're mates and all, cool," and then you just have to listen to someone give out for ages, and you're like, "Look, that sounds like I've no empathy or compassion." Of course I do. You know that from listening. I have tons of it.
Yeah.
Massive heart. You know what I mean? The heart's way bigger than my brain. I'm an idiot. You know, I'm like a Labrador. You know, I'll jump in anyone's crotch. But like, but I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Ever since I came across that fucking Carl Jung quote about how meeting people. Oh, what is the quote? Hey, something like meeting people is really difficult for me. I need a few days to recover after. Like, the more and more lately, the more kind of people I meet in the flesh, not on the internet. It's like, you're just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just too much of a fucking listener with people and I don't give back enough or something. And I'm just like, oh, there's Spud. Spud will listen to me. Here you are, Spud. They just vomit all the problems. You know, I don't know.
But my thing is that I can't talk to someone about stuff in that kind of situation because I know they are not interested. I know they're not listening to me. So I tend to just not say anything, which means you end up being the sponge thing, you know. Just go, but it's also, I've noticed it's very strange because remember back in the day when you would meet people on the street and you could talk to them, remember that? And you're like, you just haven't seen someone in 10 years, whatever, and you know, you'd be talking to them for 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. And I've just after I noticed that they never asked one question about my life. That was all became, and like not just one person, that happened a number of times where I was just going, that's very interesting. But I don't know if that's just because I can very easily, as you know, deflect any personal kind of attention. I can do that. But I wonder, did they come away thinking, geez, I never asked them anything, or what?
No, they don't know.
I honestly don't think they do. I think they just go
it's
on.
not. It's true. It's in that thing, how to win friends and
influence people.
Influence people. Not alienate people. That's the other fella's book. What's the comedian who started stand-up comedy? What the fuck is his name? He got arrested for profanity. He used to say like
George Carlin, is it?
No. Before Carlin. Damn it! I see the book. I have the book downstairs. How to lose friends and alienate. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Will I Google it?
You can if you want. So in that how to win friends book, it's like that's the first thing to do to get people to like you is to listen to them. You know, because all people want to talk about is themselves.
That's it.
Like what we're doing right now.
Yes, but we're doing it for. No, it's just coming up. How to lose friends and alienate people is a Simon Pegg movie.
No, that's based on Toby Young's book. No, not Toby Young. Not Toby Young. Right. Toby Young's a horrible human. He's terrible. Yeah, he has a. Did you ever read? He wrote an article years ago. I had my stag party and none of my friends came. Well, there you go, buddy.
There you go. Yeah.
If that's not a message.
I had a friend as well who had a 21st birthday that no one came to.
God.
I didn't go either, though, in fairness. I had a good excuse, though. And my excuse was that I was interviewing Jack L, and that wasn't... that's actually... So I think that's decent. Yeah.
That's not too bad, yeah.
God, imagine. I wouldn't have a 21st. That's well, I did have a 21st, but it was just like a bonfire and people got drunk. But it wouldn't... Like, imagine you had a 40th birthday or 50th birthday and no one came. Like, do you recover from that? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
But what's worse, if you had a 40th or 50th birthday and everyone came and you have to deal with that? Like, way to recover from that.
I have a 40th coming up now this year. My 40th, I have a 40th. My 40th's coming up this year, and I don't want to do anything. I just want to get like 3 or 4 of my mates and rent a house in the mountains and get fucked up, and that's it. And I just want to turn my phone off and have no one. Like, even over Christmas, just like, yeah, happy Christmas, yeah. And you see, like, scroll up, last message, happy Christmas. Last message before that, happy Christmas. Like, why? We're not in touch anymore. What are you doing this for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Playing a game, a drama. Isn't that what some people call it?
Yeah, you know? A role.
Yeah, and I don't mean like, leave me alone. It's just like,
I do. I absolutely do.
It's empty. No. It's just empty. It's like, I mean, like, just ring me up on like the 5th of March and be like, Spud, how the fuck are you, man? We haven't spoken in years. Jesus, this is great. But it's Christmas. I better text 50 people who I never speak to.
Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
No. I don't know. People are strange, but then you see. I think society or culture, whatever, reflects back to you what you put out. So people are strange, but I am strange. I'm not your average Joe. Maybe that's why it was called Paddy Murphy, so that he would be
nondescript person,
the most unique of the fucking of the, what do you call it, of the, what's the word I'm looking for, stereotypes. We'll give him a stereotypical name, but he'll be a complete fucking weirdo. Okay, yeah, deal, yeah, let's go. All right, ready?
You should get a new magic name or something in that that's more reflective of Fratter. Don't bother me, Christmas text messages.
Spud. Yeah. God, no. No. I don't like that Fratter thing at all. It sounds so weird.
Yeah, I think that, and it's kind of when you're on Facebook and you get a friend request from Fratter or someone or other, you go, yeah, I know the type of person you are. Although there is, in fairness, I do know a couple of people who do go by it, but that are sound. But it's just there's a kind of the stereotypical Fratter or Freighter.
Yeah. Do people say freighter?
Some do. Yeah.
Does it say like a train?
And a freighter.
Freight train.
Fraternity.
Train go your name. It's not metallic at the line or something, isn't it? I don't know. Just no. I had enough nicknames growing up. One is enough.
Yeah, the only nickname I had was TK. That's exceptional, well thought out by my friends.
That's original, huh? Yeah. That's great. Irish people are great with their surnames. Yeah. Here, Paddo. What? Paddo? Yeah. You put an O at the end of my... okay.
My next door neighbour was, second name was Gray, so he was Grayzo. That's as far as we got. Oh, Grayzo, come on.
Classy.
So I've been enjoying Ken Wilber again. That's the last couple of days of kind of been branching back into him.
Yeah, I thought I was enjoying him too until you told me the guy I was watching wasn't Ken Wilber at all.
Oh yeah. Gampo Roshi. Yeah, it's part of. So what I sent you was the integral training course or something like that, which involves a kind of people other than Ken Wilber as well, because they had a whole For people who don't know, Ken Wilber is, he's kind of this, I suppose, super intellectual, spiritual dude who started to see that his kind of premise was that you can't be wrong all of the time. So no matter what position you take, there's going to be truth in it. Because it doesn't seem possible that you could be wrong about everything. So therefore, I don't know.
Hitler.
He's a really nice painter. I don't know. Maybe he was nice to his mother or something. I don't know. But so he says that comes from thinking that everyone's opinion and sense is right. It's just that there are different levels and stages of, I suppose, evolution. Not a great word because it immediately gets you into a kind of elite thinking. I'm better than you because I'm in a higher thing. But so think of it more as stages. And so he kind of put all this together. He was set up this thing called integral, which is kind of, like take all the bits from all of the religions, put them together, and then, map it all out so that we can understand where we are in the world, where our cultures have been affecting us, blah, 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 who we are as people.
Too dissimilar to what Vervaeke is doing.
No, or some people might be, it's like spiral dynamics and that's a whole big kind of
Who was
thing.
the other fellow I shared the other day? Siphon, someone, is it? Shinjin?
Sinjin Young.
Sinjin Young. That's similar enough too. But that's
it's not a... It's not necessarily a new idea, but it's new in its presentation. But the kind of new bits of it is that there's like a tier 2, which is this new emerging spirituality. So rather than kind of thinking that we are, as so many people seem to be like, that we're in the end times, the apocalypse, end of eons, all the Carl Jung stuff, the Jonathan Pageau, Alan Chapman, Peter Kingsley, all of that kind of thing. Ken Wilber would have much more hopeful thing. He says that we know we're going somewhere, we're going to get better, things are getting better, a bit more like Steve Pinkerton's type of view of the world, although Steve Pinkerton's quite atheist in his kind of view. And that we're emerging, I suppose, from a tier 1 to a tier 2 kind of society, and that's obviously, which I suppose is similar to a changing of an eon in a sense too. I mean, it depends on what kind of thing. But anyway, he put it together, these people, and he had a number of people around him, some really good people, and then he had Genpo Roshi, which is the big mind thing that I want to talk briefly about. But obviously, there's sex scandals involved. He had 3 extra extramarital affairs and was thrown out of his... Because he was an actual priest, a Zen priest, Genpo Roshi. I think his name is...
Are they not allowed to be married, or is that...
No, no, they're allowed to be married, but you have higher ideals that you have to live by than just as a lay person. You actually make these promises that, whatever, that's part of the deal. I suppose more like being a vicar, like you're allowed to be married, but you're not allowed to have, affair. You're not allowed to shag your congregation or whatever, there's that kind of... Whereas in a Catholic priest, you just, you can only touch boys.
Housekeepers. Well, in Poland, it's housekeepers. And apparently... Yeah, it's very strange phenomenon here in Poland that the housekeepers seem to get pregnant a lot. But it's because they share a bath. That's the
well, I mean, and that's scientifically sound, obviously.
Yeah. Why are you getting in his bathwater? That's fucked up.
Yeah. Why are you wanking in your backwater?
Wait, what's going on here? That's more disgusting. Why didn't you just say they had sex?
Yeah.
I mean, that's far nicer than like in the bath. Hey, is the water still? Was it still warm? Can I use your water? Can I use the water that you bathed in, Father Frater?
So anyway, I think is it Dennis Metzel or David Metzel is his real name anyway. But he leaves his order, but then he comes back very soon after it and goes, no, people are reliant on me for financial things and spiritual things. So he came back. But as far as I know, Ken Wilber kind of just did the Japanese distancing away from him. But he's still doing it, and I was checking out. He's still at his website. He's still doing courses, all that kind of stuff. But the big mind thing. When I first did that, and I suppose I'm trying to work out when I first got into Ken Wilber, and I think it has to be around 2006, 2007 when I would have heard of him first. And I think that's kind of peak Ken Wilber. I think that was when he was at his most, I don't know, popular or whatever, because he gets sick and he kind of disappears for 10 years because he can't work. But it's kind of after those... It fell apart a bit, the scandals and a couple of different things. And I think I heard of him first through Brad Warner, but I'm not sure if that's true. But it's kind of hazy. I don't know how I, exactly came across him. But when I did Big Mind, I remember thinking at the time that it's those mind blowing, I suppose, the whole kind of process, and it's about 2.5 hours? Is it that
2.5
video?
about that, yeah.
There is a version of it on YouTube that I will link, and well, I suppose like I've talked about there. How would you describe it? What is the process? What do you like to people who haven't?
Right, so it's kind of like, what's his name?
Genpo Roshi, is it? Or the guy doing it?
Genpo is his real name?
No, it's David Metzel or Dennis Metzel.
So David.
No, hold on, I'll just check. I think
can't say Genpo.
Well, that's just like saying father. You know,
It
it's
sounds like
equivalent.
Gimpo.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, it's
Gimpo.
the same. Yeah, it's like
All
just the equivalent. Like.
Gimpo. How are you, Gimpo? Get the Gimp. Yeah, so he has this thing where he's like...
Dennis Mertzel is his name.
Dennis.
So.
All right, so Dennis. Dennis does this thing where he kind of tells people at the start, right, I'm going to show you awakening, you know? And you know, apparently some people left the room having had awakening or enlightenment moments, whatever the phrase should be. So what he does is he starts off with this really interesting thing. He says, right, I'm going to speak to different parts of your mind as we go through this lecture. And the first person I want to speak to is the self. But when I want to speak to someone, I want you to move in your chair. So he's doing this kind of active imagination thing, but also doing the ritual part of it as well, because he's making people do something. You think something first, and then you do something. So you're kind of solidifying it in your conscious and your subconscious. It's a fucking mad idea, you know, brilliant idea. And so he's like, so they just have to move in their chair, you know, and that's all. And then he speaks to the self. What do you do? The self is this, that, the other. And he says, okay, next I want to talk to the protector. And then people answer back in that voice. And this goes on and on and on and on and on until he gets to the moment where it's like, right. And he talks to like the damaged orphan and all this. And these are like Carl Jung's 12, based on his 12 kind of archetypes, you know. That's mad. And is it the orphan? He calls it the damaged, isn't he?
Yeah.
The damaged.
Yeah.
The damaged one is terrible. It's just this weak, suffering aspect of herself that is just destroyed by life, you know. And then he brings it to the master, and I was like, oh, Tommie's card is in this, and he says, right, I want to talk to the master, and then people have this massive. You can almost feel it.
Yeah.
They all have this moment of, oh shit, we can get above this.
Yeah.
You know, and the guy is sitting there just going, I have awoken all of you people. All of you people in the room. Now, I'm going to charge $5,000 for this.
Oh, yeah, it's something ridiculous. Yeah, it is. But it sounds kind of like you're going, But if you do it, block out the whole time to do it, and there is something that clicks in your brain at that moment.
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
Like there's something. The problem is it's not really abiding. Though it's not, it's not awakening in this. Well, not for me anyway. In that it didn't leave a trace of something behind in the way awakening.
But it's one of those things that's hard to explain, because I was saying that to herself the day after. I was like, look, you have to watch this thing because this thing happens in it. She says, what? And she said, well, they do this thing with the archetypes in your head, and then eventually, and after an hour or two, she came back to me and she said, yeah, okay, send it to me, because she had to think about what I was saying and kind of put it all together, because I can't. It's one of those things, and like even whenever I was trying to explain to you the transmission thing I had, like, the words coming out of my mouth don't do it justice.
No, and it actually explained it. It makes it sound the opposite of what it was. It makes it sound kind of silly or trite or
It's like, how can you watch something where this fella tells you to imagine voices in your head, and then but it, like, I don't know. I watched and just went, yeah, okay, and like, yeah, it was kind of a bit floaty there for 2 days after it, and I was just going, like, just with the kids was great. There was no aggro, and like,
because you were kind of like, when saying Discord and stuff, when we were talking, you were buzzed, like you were in good form. You were like on the hyper side. Not you weren't being fucking thing, but you could tell that was an energy thing that had jumped up a bit. Like, I suppose that it's reflective in. If you're saying it was with your kids and with stuff like that, how long do you think that stayed? Is it still with you? Is it? Maybe you have a
Spud. Still, yeah. I'm still a bit high on it. Yeah, definitely. Kind of floaty a bit. I don't know. Like, I'm. You know me. I'm not the most patient fucker in the world. But since watching that thing, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
The kids are pulling each other apart, and I'm just like, isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely that they're? I mean, this is a, they're just having a moment. They'll be
Spud,
fine.
Spud, you've changed.
I know. I don't. The farmer, it's just going, what the hell?
Now, to bring this back to INGRAM's thing, though, here's the problem with Big Mind, or here's the rebuttal to it, is that it can bring you to a place that you're not ready for, and it can definitely, like if you're not ready to talk to a damaged child or whatever, or to these things, or you don't want to, or whatever, and if you've trauma you don't even know about, the way, we can kind of put these things to the back of our mind and kind of forget about it, like, it can bring stuff out, and particularly the way it's done is in a group of people. Like it's like if you're doing it in a video, it's supposedly not as good as being there live, which interesting, because that's $5,000 to go there live, or you can watch it on YouTube. But I remember reading one time. There was one woman who's a cancer survivor in it, and he kind of tells her to sit out. Right. Because it's been filmed, is it? This isn't going to work on her, lads. How do we cut her out? Yeah.
She's been in too many scenes. She's been in too many crowd scenes. Fuck. He's banging the earphone pieces. Fuck, what the fuck are we going to do? And he doesn't outright tell her to sit out. I think he tells her to observe what they're doing more, because she had awful issues being a cancer survivor, and she wasn't able to let go, because he has the things of, for example, let me speak to the lover or something, and when she was answering questions, she could never refer to this identity as I or me. It was always there's something, and he dug in a lot with her, but it just wasn't working. So he's like, maybe we'll do this a bit differently. I don't remember the wording of, but he was kind of saying to her, but you're dead right. I mean, if people aren't ready for it, then they shouldn't. Well, there was one guy in particular who I read, and he was talking about, he went to the Big Mind, paid the money, went with his wife, whatever, and at some point, I can't remember because it's a while since I read it, but it was that, can I speak to who, whatever, or can you speak your truth, something like that, can I speak to the truth? And he stands up and announces to everyone that he says, I am gay, and then he immediately sits down and go, what? No, and obviously your wife's beside you, you don't thing. He said after he's kind of going, well, I'm not gay, and it's I don't know, I felt under pressure in that time, and I've kind of fucked up my life or whatever. So two things. Say that? But that's what he's saying. He's saying it's such an intense kind of experience, and when you're put under that kind of pressure, the people seem to. I know for myself, when I was doing therapy and that EFT stuff I was doing, where she got me talking to my grandmother, and she was kind of, she's saying, she's kind of not bullying it, but kind of really coaxing. When you're at school and there's like someone's trying to start a fight, and there's the wee fella beside going, hit him, you hit him, and you're going, I don't want to fucking hit anyone, but he's like, go on, golden you. So it's kind of like that, and I definitely in that situation said things that I didn't think were true, because it was an intense situation, to the point that but as well, go on. That's like, when you're standing in the queue in the shop, and eventually you get there and you have like a million things in your trolley, and you try to put them up quickly, and then because it's little, there's no space, and you're trying to bag all the things, and then you go to pay and you're like, fuck, where's the wallet? And you're looking for your card, and like there's a queue of like 2 people, but you feel the pressure. The pressure. There's no pressure. That's all in your fucking head. Yeah, but so the thing is, even like say he isn't gay, right, and he's in some way under pressure and felt that kind of thing. That's kind of weird that's a response. But let's say he is, and he didn't know it. He didn't know his wife. There certainly isn't the best place to do it, and all of these things. He was just going, and there was a couple of stories about like that. Brad Warner. Maybe he had been watching Almost Famous the night before, because there's the plane crash scene. Well, it doesn't crash, but it's a nod to the guys who sang Freebird, Lynyrd Skynyrd. How do you say that name? Lynyrd Skynyrd. Lynyrd Skynyrd. Yeah. Lynyrd Skynyrd. And so there's this nod to it, and there's like, they're going down, like, oh my God, I slept with your wife. Well, I don't love you either. I hate you. Why we're only in this band. What does he say? Your man says, your looks are becoming a problem in the band. And then the drummer's like, I'm gay. And everyone looks at him going, It's like it's the first time he's spoken the whole movie. He's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Oh, it's a long time since I've seen that film. I don't even remember that scene, but I must watch it again. Yeah, so Brad Warner, who is a Zen guy, people can take him or leave him. I quite like him. His kind of his thing is that it's kind of similar, I suppose, to the INGRAM thing of the Dark Knights, is that you can get to somewhere where you're not prepared for, and if you have a sudden satori, as it would be called in Zen, or sudden enlightenment, you mightn't be ready for it. It's the young thing of beware of unearned wisdom, in which he's kind of talking about psychedelics, possibly in that. It depends on what way you want to look at it, but that if you are skipping a load of steps, then it's not necessarily you're not awakened for some reason, and by kind of taking the awakening pill mightn't be the correct thing. But of course, in Zen, you have these koans and you have these kind of moments where the teacher will do something ridiculous in order to waken up the student, like throw a shoe at him or, kill his wife or whatever it is, Yeah. But so there's all of these kind of things that come out of it, and a thing. I'd say at least try it if you're in, if you're just getting over cancer. Wait a while, you know what I mean? Or if you've just gone through a bit of trauma, just maybe wait a while. But if you're in a kind of normal, good kind of place, whatever, but do block out the 2.5 hours. Don't do it don't think you can dip in and out. There is a process to it, and it kind of does, or at least.
I think. Look, what was most interesting for me is that it was like just peeling back the banana skin. You're peeling back parts of the banana skin to reveal the banana, and the banana was there all the time. Kind of thing. But it's that thing that awakened people say, is that everyone's awake all the time, they just don't realise it. And he shows step by step how to
get to it.
No, but you can't say it's awakening or fully awakening, but it's a moment of going, I don't need to carry all this baggage. I can see it, and by seeing it, by identifying it, by speaking with it or letting it speak to me, but me kind of showing it who's boss. This master 40 servants card, bringing that everywhere with me from now on. Fucking getting the tattooed on my head, and I'll spoon out my eyeball. That's what I'll spoon out my eyeball, and I'll tattoo it on the inside of my eyelid.
I think that's a good plan.
Tommie. There's commitment to Tommie Kelly there, right?
Other plans are available.
But I think it's a really interesting way of doing it, and just doing it in a very simple way of saying, like, you're not your baggage. You're not your baggage. You can be a better person by listening to yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of, the clue, and I suppose one thing is in the name, big mind, whereas we see the world through small mind. And once you kind of see, it's like, but you see again, that kind of just see it, the bigger picture and all that, and you go, shut up, you twat. But it is that, but it's also not that. It's kind of.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it again. It's been a while since I've done it, but I'll do it as a proper, uninterrupted, make a kind of ritual out of it or something like that. There is another interesting thing in that integral and integral are the same word, right? Just pronounced differently, I assume. Like, it's not a different word.
I presume so.
Yeah. And it's the 3-2-1 process, which is kind of similar to the binding process in Margia. It's not similar it's the outcome, the idea of what you're trying to do is similar in trying to remove things, and it's seeing a problem or a situation or something from different perspectives. So you see it from like third person, second person, first person, and there's kind of a process around it, and it can be quite interesting, and I got some good results with that back in the day. The problem, I think, why I ended up kind of moving away from Ken Wilber is that he really has no time for magic. And there's a big kind of dismissive. He sees it as a lower stage. It's part of the mythic stage. Like, he would equate all of magic with the kind of idea of Moses parting the Red Sea, in that it didn't really happen, and it's just a way of looking at the world. That's, as soon as you get to the rational stage, that you transcend and include. The lesser is found in the greater, and the greater. It's the same. That you ascend and include, same thing, same idea. But there's still a kind of a thing where it's like, but don't go back. I don't know how it includes, if it's kind of dismissed or whatever. And there is an interview where he's talking about Crowley. And you can tell that he doesn't understand Crowley. Like that, he's not. He hasn't. He's kind of fallen a bit for you know, the kind of the wickedest man in the world kind of hype stuff, you know, like, and doesn't kind of, you know, and kind of so, and kind of messing around with kind of, you know, naive magic and stuff, and it's just that kind of. Because I was kind of, I really like all the other kind of approaches and this kind of idea of states and stages, aqua lines and elves. And I had that remember we were talking about, I think we talked about it off camera though, or off podcast, where we were talking about when we were talking about the elements that you can, in some way, well, what am I doing for earth today? What am I doing for fire today? That framework is in this integral kind of thing where you're working, you know, mind, body, and spirit, and you have, you know, a particular thing that you do that you're working on in each kind of zone each day. So that I get all that, but I think that's what pulled me out of it, is that this kind of, because you'd be the same, I think, in that, you know, if you're reading a book and it's talking about, I don't know, a subject you're not too sure of, and they're saying, oh, and this happened, and this happened, this happened, and then it says something that you know not to be true, and it kind of calls into question all the rest of the book.
Of course.
Yeah, so I think that is what happened. But I know Duncan Barford of the Baptist Head thing, because I talked to him, 5 years ago about this, when the Ken Wilber's book came out, The Religion of Tomorrow, and I'm just kind of going, he very much kind of, you know, dismisses magic, and he is a different kind of thing, because, well, I don't really think he does, he just sees it in a different way or whatever. So I could be just not understanding that type of thing. But I also know that when Grant Morrison talks about Ken Wilber, he also says that he thinks that he doesn't outright like the idea of magic too. So you know, at least Grant Morrison agrees with my appraisal of it. But going back into it this week has been really, really good, and it's kind of certain things. You know, when you've listened to something, obviously, and then you go off and you spend 10 years and you come back and you kind of go, well, I understood it at the time, but I have a better appreciation of it now. And I don't mean that in that every time you read a book, there's something different, you know, because you're a different person. Although it's exactly the same thing. He was talking about I amness, Ken Wilber, in one of his things, and the witness and this kind of thing. And it was that was something... That was the nudge I needed that I wasn't getting in my meditation practice. That kind of seeing that those words. I mean, it's not any different from, you know, like say the fire practice, the noting practice for passing away. You're noting something, but it kind of just, when I'm thinking fire, the fire practice or for passing it, it's kind of as if it's, and people at home, I'm putting my hands in front of my face. It's kind of as if it's here, you know, cat noise. Birds, you know, and it's kind of there, but then you go in the witness or the I amness, it pulls it right back, and you have that, which I wasn't getting, you know. And I suppose it's a bit like the Ramana Maharshi thing of, you know, who is the person who's, you know, who am I? What that whole thing of you're reflecting on stuff, like who is the thing that's here's the cat? Who is the, you know, that kind of, and again, that's pulling it back a wee bit more, and I found that very. So like my meditation practice the last 2 days has been awesome, you know, with just that, and I find myself during the day doing that, which is kind of similar to what you were saying, like say when the kids are going, my kid's going insane or something, and you pull back to this I amness, and you just see object, reaction, you know, and you know, this kind of thing, and that I think, because he talks about the amness always being present, and it has always been present. This is like the Zen thing of, excuse me, show me your true face before your parents were born. And he says, and I mean that literally, like not in a kind of but no, to kind of prove or to suggest that the I amness has always been about. And so when you get to the I amness fully understood, or, you know, fully thing, it's then you see there's no separation between any of it, which is the awakening thing. I find that very interesting. Just again, it's like I noticed, you know, it's like the same thing expressed in different words, and sometimes when you get it expressed in different words, then you know it resonates with you a bit more in the moment. But it's all pointing to the same sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. Look, you know, the more you learn about all these traditions, the more you're like, they're all the fucking same. Like,
yeah,
they really are. I mean, okay. So let's say, like the biggest difference I can find is kind of. The other day I was sitting at the kitchen table on the laptop, and Aga looks over, she's making a coffee, and she looks over, I know you're not working, what are you doing? And I looked at her and I says, Do you really want to know? Yeah. Well, I'm researching Neoplatonism. Oh, okay. What a geek, huh? On my day off, like, I'm sitting there like, ooh, Neoplatonism, monoism. This is really interesting. And Plotinus. Yeah, I'm going to buy all his books. This is really interesting, you know? So, but here's the thing. So there's the non-duality.
I think it's Plotinus it's pronounced, isn't it? Plotinus?
I'm going to say Plotinus.
I really like Plotinus. I really like that.
Plotinus is great.
Plotinus, yeah.
And the other one I like is people say, I say Caligula.
Right.
People say Caligula.
Yeah.
It's obviously Caligula, but I like mine more. Caligula. Hey, Caligula, man.
Yeah,
it's
I have
deadly.
one. It's Ozymandias. Ozymandias. I mean, it's plainly Ozymandias, no matter what anyone says, you know. But it's Ozymandias, I know it is, yeah.
You say Ozymandias.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That has a nice ring to it. I have
because
to say
I'm
that.
pretty sure when I first came across that, I first came across it in Watchmen, that I had heard that name before as Ozymandias. Yeah. You know, like in a kind of he was the troll under the bridge. His real name was Ozymandias. You know, like Rumpelstiltskin, that thing.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Mispronouncing names is fun, you know. But yeah, so back to the thing. So non-duality is kind of what most things seem to be pointing at. Yeah. But I do like the idea of the monoism, whereas that there's one thing. Yeah. And but that kind of ties in a little bit to the tree of life, whereas that, like, you know, Keter is the highest and it's so profound and that we actually can't understand it. So I kind of like that idea a bit more than we're all just the one thing, the non-duality thing. Cause
but I mean, like, it can both point to the same thing, though, right? It's neither monism, you know, and it's different from monotheism as well. Monism and non-duality are in that. I understand the difference, I think, but also I'm aware that neither of them. It's you know, it's map and territory stuff. It's, you know, don't confuse the thing, that it's just the best description of it that we can kind of have. And I would have a sense that it's an experiential thing rather than it is an actual, you know, a label thing. It's that thing, you know, netty, not this, not that. You know, you can only talk about it in the thing it isn't.
Too, you know? Yeah. I think just maybe for me it's just that I'm leaning towards that first one, because it's just that it seems like a safer bet that there's one thing which I can't understand, rather than, you know, I am something that freaks me out. Yeah. Maybe that's all it is, you know. But I don't know. Look, I mean, how many weird experiences do you have meditating?
Yeah,
you know?
But you have to kind of, I think there's in some way, you know, you have to go through these things. You know, you have to see what it is. And I think that, like, the chaos magic perspective of, you know, the belief shifting and just, you know, fully engage with it in the moment, but don't, you know, I don't feel I have to think of this for the rest of my life. You know, it's like, I suppose, the Magia thing of that the only way is through it. You know, you just keep going through, see it for what it is, and then, you know, you come out the other side as a better person possibly.
Look, I mean, it doesn't particularly matter which one is right. You know, as long as that, like, just be a good person and don't kill yourself. For God's sake, don't kill yourself. You know what I mean? That's just wrong. Don't do that. And not from like a wrong, sinful thing. It's just, fucking get through it, as Tommie says. You know?
Yeah. See it for what it is. But compassion for all of that. I mean, we've both been there, so we understand. It's not a dismissing of, you know. It's not, and it's no way of saying
I'm dead serious.
Because an awful lot of those kind of, in a sense, the platitudes that are said to, particularly online, to people who are in that, or the outcome is the opposite of what the intention is. It's like when someone comes in and you know, you're obviously in bad form, to go, oh, will you just smile? You want to fucking hit them in the face. Yeah. You know, it's not
well, you know, it's okay not to be okay. Fuck off. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Don't leave me alone.
Or listen, will you chill out? Because that's going to help me.
Oh, what's what I saw the other day? Oh God, what was it? It was terrible, really demeaning. It was something like, if your wife is ever shouting and angry at you, turn around and say, "Oh, the hairdresser really messed up your hair this time." Or something along those lines, something like that, you know.
You chose to wear that top, did you? That wasn't just. Can you imagine?
Yeah, imagine, yeah. Oh, God almighty.
So, Spud.
So, Tommie.
Do we survive that?
That's the name of it, is it? Netflix.
It's Surviving Debt. It's a new
Surviving
Netflix
Debt.
thing that a number of people have talked about it. It's based on a book by Leslie Keane.
Yeah, no, it's nothing to do with money. It's because Irish people don't pronounce it properly. Debt. You know, not debt. Not debt.
Surviving
Not
Debt.
money.
Leslie Keane, people would know her probably from her UFO book, which she's been on Rinse podcast and a number of other things. She's in a few documentaries. She turns up a bit like Linda Moulton Howe every now and again in various different things.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Curse
but
of Death. Kiss of Death.
The Kiss of Death. Yeah. And the idea is it's a 6-part series looking at different aspects of life after death and people's experiences. And we had a nice little sync around that we both kind of were flicking through Netflix, and I said, "Oh, what? That's one for the podcast." And about half an hour later, Spud goes, "Oh, one for the podcast." So I was going, "Oh, right, yeah." And I think it's out a couple of weeks, is it? So it's not that it's just. The first episode is about near-death experiences, and that's really good.
Really good.
Really good.
It starts off brilliantly. There's a canoeist, and there's all these just the beautiful shots of where it happened, and this just, I don't know, it looked like Alaska, whatever. Mountains, rivers, lakes, bears having sex with salmon, all these kind of things were going on. And it was just gorgeous, and she has this profound, amazing near-death experience. Well, death experience.
Yeah, she was dead for half an hour.
Dead for half an hour. Like she was under the water for ages. Her, like she was trapped so badly underwater that her life jacket like popped off, and some other fella jumped in the water to go and get it. Get this bit, so that her husband could have it. That would be the last thing I would want if my wife dies. Hey, this is the thing that was supposed to save her. It didn't. But frame it, put it over the fuck. What? Get away from me, you freak. But anyway. And then she has this death experience, and she's all floaty and up in the sky, and she's meeting past relatives and all this stuff. And then she has this. She's told a prophecy that her son's not going to live. To be 18, or I think 18, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then he died. I think he was 18.
He was 20. No, he was 20 when he died.
He was 20, so he had passed the birthday. But he died when he was 20, and like the whole time she knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, and she tells him as well.
Like,
I don't know if she should have told him. I wouldn't want to. Well, I wouldn't want to know, because God, imagine the countdown to that. To your 18th birthday, thinking. But it's very sad.
She could tell me like the day after.
Yeah, but she didn't.
Then I'd be like,
she told him before.
Fuck you, death! Give me the heroin!
She talks about when she was going over the thing, and she's in the canoe, whatever it was, and she's bent over double, and she said, I can feel the bones snapping. And the whole thing. And she says, but it was like, there was a peace, a calm, a bliss. That was like, it was kind of, people talk about that with drowning as well, but then other people, that's kind of the thing we have. Oh, drowning seems to be really nice. You get this bliss. But then you have other people go, no, it's fucking horrible to nearly drown.
There's some difference in whether you either drown in seawater or drown in fresh water.
Oh, right. So that one is.
Oh, geez, I don't remember which one. I think seawater is supposed to be far worse for you because of the salt.
Oh, it burns your lungs, I assume.
Takes a lot longer or something. So, yeah, God almighty. Oh, look, I grew up on an island, as you do. Like the amount of like, lads from my village who died drowning, in inverted commas, was off the charts. And until I was about 15, 16 years old, I didn't put it together. Didn't put it. All suicides. It's just code in Ireland for, he drowned.
Yeah, he drowned. Yeah.
Technically, he did drown, but, he took the last step off the bridge, Awful. Cold.
Yeah, so then that gets a bit sad, but she says she has that her son died. Obviously, that is sad, but she kind of has this feeling. Well, death seems completely different for me, and because I'm aware that his energy can't be destroyed, so it's there somehow. I don't buy that. I hear that an awful lot, that the energy can't be destroyed, so that means you're going to exist forever. But it changes. It doesn't mean it's destroyed. It doesn't mean you're the same. It's like there's a nice kind of
like a fart doesn't just stay a fart.
But that's it, But there's an interesting one. Excuse me, Zen one where it says so you have a candle, and then you have another candle and you light one of them, and this is your life now, and then you light the other candle with the flame, and then you put out the first one. Is it the same flame? It's so like that's kind of one kind of way of looking at As it's in relation to reincarnation rather than life after that.
Yeah.
But that is it the same flame, or is it just something that happens? It's a reaction to it. The next bit of, I suppose, the near that one is the guy who looks a bit like Carlos Santana, and he he dies and whatever thing, and meets his dad, and the hug and the sort kind of all that type of that. I find that less interesting because it's kind of, you could probably have the same visceral reaction to a particularly lucid dream. I think it's an interesting kind of
or like an intense meditation session,
or something like that. So it's like it's very interesting and great healing and all that. But to a sense, like it doesn't prove anything. But yeah, I did like that episode, and there's a couple of other things that I've listened to. I think, what's her name, Penny Satori's book, which she was a nurse or worked in nursing homes or whatever, and with palliative care, where people who were dying, and just an awful lot of the things that happened, were they'll start seeing relatives, they'll start chilling out before, and even then to the point where she says the nurses in the hospital will know when a person's going to die before the doctor does, because they start talking to people, they start saying particular things.
I had that when I went to say goodbye to my granny. She didn't see me. She was calling me her third son's name, who was also dead.
Right.
Yeah, freaked me out. So it did. But I just sat with it and just answered it as if I was him. Like, I spoke to her as if I was Ben, And then a nurse came in and to change or whatever, and I said, no, I'm not going to put her through this. So I just put my head in and said goodbye and left. And that was it. Like, freaked me out. But like, she was, I don't know, obviously, from what this documentary is saying is that she was getting ready for it. That's preparing for it. So I was like, it's kind of nice that I was a part of it then,
Yeah. The problem with that is, and I think this might be from Penny Satori's book, and it might be from somewhere else, but it seems conflated in my head, which says that that's an experience that so many people have, but yet you're not allowed to talk about it because it's a bit unscientific, And the kind of point, or I don't know if my point is that it's like, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. It doesn't matter that, if she mistook you for someone else. It's the healing thing. And, if you can in any way kind of, allow people a better transition, then I think that should be, we should be talking about it. Like, it's like the thing with the UFO thing. It seemed like, right, it mightn't be aliens, but something's fucking happened. Can we, we should probably talk about that, rather than just going, oh, fucking conspiracy weirdo alien people.
Yeah, swamp gas.
Yeah, people are seeing dead relatives and sorting stuff out before they die. Some people. We should probably maybe talk about that and have a look at that, because it seems to be part of it, rather than trying to go, we can't look at that because we don't want to bring religion into the science of death or whatever it is, God forbid. So yeah, the next episode, Spud.
No, hold on. Before we get into the next episodes, the first episode is fucking brilliant. Okay, watch it.
On IMDb, it gets an 8 out of 10, which I think is pretty good. The next one gets a 4.8.
Yeah, no, it doesn't even deserve that much. You know what I mean? The next two are just...
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the thing is that it's like...
Spud! I'm Tommie boy!
We'll get to that.
I'm so happy to see you.
It's like when a band you like puts out a new record, right? And I'm looking at you, Foo Fighters, right? The first song that they release off a new album is always a banger.
Yeah,
it's always brilliant.
New Foo Fighters song's great.
And then the rest of the album, dog shit. And you're like, come on, lads, you can do better than this, And it's exactly the same with this Netflix thing. The first one is filmed so well, and the interviews are so good, and the topic is so good. And then the next one, they're like, let's go to Holland and meet some batshit crazy mediums.
And do it as a two-parter.
It's fucking two-parter as well. Like, they thought it was so interesting. Oh my God, it was, oh no.
It's the problem with all that. I
want to be open-minded, Tommy. I want to be open-minded on this. I do.
Don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out.
Exactly. I can't be that open-minded,
But it's the thing we talked about in the I Am Prophecy episode, and we've talked about this kind of channeling thing where people do stupid voices. And it was just, it was that. It was like, the first one is doing a kind of a Reiki healing type thing that she's developed from talking to dead people over the years, whatever. But she does this kind of, I assume, is meant to be some sort of Freud old man doctor. He called Dr. James. Ah, yes. Oh, let me have a look at you, son. Oh, we need a tissue.
Yeah, using these. Oh, pass me the handkerchief there, please, my dear.
Yeah.
What are you talking like that for? Oh.
You will find some tissues in the medium's handbag just out the front. It's like, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's an impression of someone doing Santa. What would you like, young boy, what would you like for Christmas? You would like to not have cancer. Very good, young boy. That's very good. Come into the
Try
healing.
again.
Yeah, so that was ridiculous.
Not this year, sonny.
But then it goes on to this German one. I think she's German. She's somewhat of German.
No, she's Dutch.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But she has a normal accent, and it's a European Dutch. Obviously, I thought it was German. What do I know? But she does this thing, right, where she goes into the box, which is the this is standard kind of seance stuff where she's taped into the box. What's that? Velcroed, so she can't move or whatever. But you're not allowed to record it with video cameras because the ghosts don't like that. And she then progresses into doing impressions of Mary Poppins characters. Called Tommie Boy. And the worst is she goes into it and she goes, "Oh, it's Tommie Boy," and everyone in the room goes, "Oh, he's here! Oh, he's here!
Hello,
Isn't it great? Oh, hello!" And you go, Finette was saying to me, she's going, "If I was there, I would just stand up and walk out."
Just piss yourself laughing.
You just go, "No."
What the fuck? What was? Well, look, I don't know. I've never been to a medium, so you can put me right on this because I think you have.
Yeah.
She does this thing where it takes two characters for her to get into it. She does this one where it's like this deep voice like this, and he says Tommie is going to be along soon and he's going to do this to me, and then she goes, "Oh, alright, governor, show your shoes, mate. Fancy sweeping your chimney? I'm from Mary Poppins. Tommie." What's going on here? And then there's a third character, isn't it? And then she does the ghosty stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny because Tommie Boy, he seems to know only stuff that's on Facebook, which is, that's interesting, being that he's, from the late 19th century. Mary Poppins. Well, when is Mary Poppins? Mid 20th century, whatever it is.
No idea.
There's one guy, and he's great because he's really into it. And he goes, I believe this. And then they were talking to his auntie, and she got loads of things right. And he goes, "Yeah, but she didn't say the code word that we had worked out." And it's going, and he was very impressed that the other guy was told about a green car and something that his dad would said, and he goes, "Yeah, but that's like on my Facebook page," and you could just see a man's face drop, and he goes, "Yeah, bullshit." There's another bit in it. I don't know if it was in this part or the other part where there's a guy and they're doing. There's an Irish woman in it. She was interesting. She was. I think it's her who's doing it. Where the room full of people, and "Oh, does anyone know a John?" And someone goes, "Yeah, well, I know a John." Of course you do. And there's she points to the oldest guy in the room and goes, "Is your father dead?" But the best line in the entire thing is, "Has anyone ever been to a zoo?" I was like, "Oh, Christ." Was the monkeys there? Oh, yeah, there was monkeys.
It's fun. Yeah, it's good crack. It's just, how could you... Yeah, I don't know. Look, the thing is with mediums is that, I think I'd give it a go. But also at the same time, how to phrase this properly. I've been trying to think now how to phrase this properly. It's not that I have no interest in talking to my dead relatives. It's that I want to leave them alone.
Yeah.
They're dead. Leave them alone. If they want to tell me something, they'll tell it to me themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go poking them. Like, you wouldn't go into someone's room at night and point your finger into the rib and say, "Oi, here, George, look, I know I haven't seen you in 50 years. Do you know who's going to win the fucking Epsom Derby on Saturday? Because I need money."
Yeah.
No, don't
No.
do that. Like, that's just bad manners.
There's a thing Dave Navarro talks about as well. His mum was murdered when he was quite young and stuff like that. And he says he gets not an awful lot, but there's a number of people ringing up saying, or trying to get in contact with him, saying that they have messages from his mother and need to talk to him. And he's going like, if my mother wants to talk to me, she's not going to go to some creepy person and tell them something that will freak me out. You know, it's just like, I can understand that. But I went to a medium once, and two kind of very interesting things out of it. One, it kind of really annoyed me after it because at the time I was trying to do, I don't know what I was trying to do. I was trying to get the art stuff together and have that as my career, and she told me it wouldn't work out for me, that I would end up working with children.
Thanks,
and that took me like probably a couple of days to kind of, because I have a thing that I have to be so careful about with divination, that I can kind of buy into it a bit too much, you know, and kind of obviously then you know, there's a chance that you're going to create that type of thing as well, you know. So that's why I don't really ask, you know, divination questions about things like that. Like, it would be more, what advice can you give? What's something I'm missing? You know, what that kind of thing, because I know that if someone, say I went to a fortune teller and they said, you're going to die before you're, I got 18. Oh, I go, well, you were wrong, but you're going to die before you're 50. That's going to just fuck with me far too much, you know. Thing.
Of course.
But so the good kind of side of it was that when I went, this is pre-Facebook. I think Bebo had just launched, so there was, you know, it was still some sort of internet. But my wife had booked a session under her name, so she didn't know my name at all. And I went, I'm definitely going in first because I don't know what Vanessa will talk to her about, and I don't want, you know, if she might say something that brings up. So I did first, and I was all like, right, I'm not giving anything away here, you know. And she was using playing cards as well. But the very first thing, excuse me, she said is, "Who's John?" And which is interesting because that's the exact line that comes up in the thing. And I was kind of going, "Jeez, who's John?" He says, "There's a guy here. Yeah, he says he knows you." And whatever, for some reason, what my brain didn't work. My uncle John had died 2 weeks previous to it. And I was going like, "Oh, my uncle who just died. Sorry, yeah, John." And she says, "Yeah, you didn't get to say goodbye to him. You weren't that close with everybody. You knew each other, and you know, a couple of little." Not anything, but I just thought, geez, straight in with the name, whatever. And then she's, again, I'm an idiot. She says, "There's a guy here with a head injury." I was going, I don't know what that is. But Vanessa's friend had died from falling off a roof a couple of weeks previous. So and he came to her as well when Vanessa went in, and she copped straight away what it was. So I thought that was interesting. And it's going to, you know, like, it's interesting in getting a name and get, you know, the impressive if you've researched, given you know how hard that must have been to find, you know, if you could be looking at the death notices. I'm sure more than one person died in the last couple of weeks.
Like, look, I don't want to dismiss it, but it's hard not to when you watch stuff like this.
Yeah.
But I don't want to dismiss it because, but then I have to wonder, like, if I went to one, because I have this attitude towards death that, like, I just want them left alone, let them rest in peace. They've had enough of this planet, you know. Hopefully they reincarnated somewhere better, or they're off in the spirit realms, or wherever they are. You know, they're going up anyway, not down. They probably wouldn't get any hit for me, because they'd be just like, nah, Spud doesn't care, but Spud is at peace with them being gone. Yeah. But then again, I mean, look, it's uncles, it's grandparents. It's not like I haven't lost a parent. You know what I mean? I haven't lost a sibling, thank fuck. And so obviously it's going to be very different. But like there's something when I was watching it, I couldn't lose the fucking feeling that, like, so many people are being what's the word? Exploited.
Oh yeah,
So many people are being exploited with this nonsense.
Because even the guy,
and I'm not saying all mediums are nonsense. I'm not.
No,
but a lot are. You know,
and even the guy, it's the same thing as, I suppose, as the fortune telling phone call things from years ago, whatever. You know, you ring up and it's too good. It's like when a person goes and, you know, maybe talks to their dead son, whatever it is, and they're not getting closure from it because they're then going to the next medium to talk to him again. You know, it's. Well,
there's a character in this. You just mentioned him, and he goes to medium after medium after medium after medium. It's like a drug for him at this stage.
And
where's he get all his money? He's a barman in Broadway.
Well, it could be all.
What else is he selling to the bar customers that he has this much money? You know, there's the blonde medium. In fairness, actually, to the blonde medium, I thought she was really impressive.
Yeah, that's the one where they went to her house.
The American,
yeah,
the American medium,
she's written a book.
My God, she had a nice house. I reckon she
had a nice house. She's doing well.
She cost a fortune to see. Oh.
Yeah, but even her, she got kind of. She didn't get 100% things, and it was well edited too. Like, I mean, she was definitely put in a thing. But like, out of all of them, she was the most impressive because she immediately jumps to, while still kind of open-ended kind of things, where a bit more specific. And if she is cold reading, that's an impressive skill in itself. So, yeah, it's just the overall thing. I came away from.
There was one. She was talking about a woman went to her, whose daughter had, I don't remember. She'd either died of a drug overdose or she'd killed herself. I don't remember. It's one of them. No,
I don't really. As from what I remember, they don't fill in the details. It's just something happened.
It's something to do with drugs anyway.
Yeah, right? I assumed that was killed herself.
So she does this thing where, like, she says, there's a girl here. She says this and she wants that, and so she identifies as daughter, right? And then she says, "Okay, you have a locket. It's in an envelope. It's in your pocket, isn't it?" And she's like, No. And she's like, "No, but you have a locket, don't you?" She says, "Yeah, it's in my bag. I moved it. It was in my pocket." I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Like,
you know, that was good.
And then she does this lovely thing as well, where like this daughter that she's talking to wants to give the mother a hug, and like
the Patrick Swayze Demi Moore moment, where the hug to take over the body and from Ghost.
Oh, no, I haven't. I never saw Ghost. You have watched an awful amount of terrible films, Tommy Kelly.
I know. So, what can I say?
But even even if that isn't thing, like, to give, like, that woman desperately wanted a hug, and to be told it wasn't her fault, not her fault, that there's nothing she could have done. That's what she wanted to hear. And I think there's a thin line there between what I was saying about people being I've forgotten the word again,
exploited,
taken advantage of, exploited, but I just thought it was a lovely moment for the mother, because she needed it.
She did.
She did need it, you know. And the next, there was the thing about, they looked into like the kind of history of mediumship, mediumism, whatever. Mediumshipism, and hippopotami, and there was this Polish fella that they mentioned, and they done some cool experiments with him. Obviously, he'd be tied down to the chair, and they would have these. One fellow was a Nobel Prize winning physicist. They had another scientist there as well, and there was another chap, and they would do this experiment where they would get him to speak to whatever voices, but he had this kind of tub of water, a big one, I don't know. 100 litres type thing, and what they would do is they would melt a layer of wax onto the top of the water, and so after everything was done, then there were these like shapes in it, and they were like hands, and like small hands, baby hands, and feet, and just these mad shapes. And you can look it up. His name is Kluski, which is mad because he obviously changed his name. In Polish, a Kluski is like a little donut, or not a donut, a dumpling.
And
so it's not his real name. He obviously changed his name in France because no one could say his real name. It's hilarious. And
McCluskevich.
And so your man, this the fella who runs this outfit now, he's like, look, there's three possibilities. He's right. One, Kluski could get out of the chair and could manipulate the wax into these shapes, but he couldn't do that because he's tied down. Number two, the scientists did it, and the other four people that were in the room in cahoots with Kluski did it. Or number three, it's ghosts.
Yeah.
You know, so it has to be one of them, like, you know, and it looks like it was ghosts.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm trying to be skeptical here, but it looks like for him something happened.
Yeah.
Very, very, very bizarre. Quite cool though.
There's an interesting kind of story about the first people, the girls. I can never remember the names. The first kind of did it, and they did clicking and rapping and tapping and stuff, and that they then came out and said at some point that no, we were making it up. And then but then there is a thing where they said no, we weren't making it up, but we were compelled to say that kind of thing. and that happens a number of times in different kind of scenarios where there's like what's that, the Enfield poltergeist thing so there is a point where they're getting this mad kind of things going on, actual behaviour, poltergeist behaviour, but then the kids themselves start making up stuff as well, and then it's to kind of as if to kind of make it look like the whole thing was a sham or whatever, and then kind of ask, like, why did you do that? And they don't really know why they did that, and that there seems to be some sort of pattern of trickster thing in this, where there is something,
bizarre, isn't it?
But you're going to fuck it up so that people don't believe you. It's like the synchronicity. It's we're going to give you enough, but we're not going to give you enough to give the game away, because that's not how it. And if it starts looking like the game's been given away, then there's like the damage control has to come in and to kind of sort it out. But it's odd that pattern exists so often, that people, something happens, they do something to kind of spoil the full authenticity, whatever that word is, and then in future kind of look back and go, we don't know why I did that. Why?
Weird, isn't it?
The mediums one. I don't know.
I think the best thing about the medium episodes is it looks at the kind of history of mediumship. That's the bits that I like the most.
But it's not even that in depth. Like you could definitely have a better documentary.
You could definitely find better documentaries on it, But the blonde American woman seems to be the real deal. The blonde Dutch woman, not so sure. And there was an interesting little shot of B-roll where they put up how much the costs of the courses are. In Holland as well. I was like, ooh, Scaldi. A couple of grand, like, for a couple of days to learn how to search on Facebook or something.
No, you're definitely not learning that. You're learning some pretending. The next episode is the last episode I actually got to see, but which was better. And the last two episodes are meant to be really good. You've seen them all, did you? The last episode's meant to be the best of the lot.
I'm just Googling here. What's it called again? Life Beyond Death, isn't it?
No, Surviving Death. So the next episode is Signs from the Dead, and this is a thing that, like, you hear, particularly in Ireland, you get an awful lot of, they sent me a white feather after they died to let me know they were okay. And it's that kind of stuff. But there's one very interesting one in it, and it's a video it was all over Reddit, all over social media when it happened, was when two sisters, I think it's the mother, died. Before they died, they says, I'm going to send you, a sign that I'm okay, and they said it's a cardinal bird that I'll send, or something like that. And the video is...
Imagine if she just sent some cardinal from the Vatican.
Yeah.
Bless you, and bless you, my dears, bless you. What are you doing here? I don't know. I was in Italy yesterday.
I know, But the video itself, you'll find it online if you're not going to watch the documentary. It's very interesting. Like the bird is definitely acting strange and very friendly and over familiar, and it hangs round, and it does look a bit.
For a wild bird, like these aren't birds that just fly up to you.
It's specific
not
to the right
from
bird.
The area. Like they're supposed to be down in Florida or California. This is in wherever it is. I don't know, somewhere in the middle, much colder. Part of America. Like the thing isn't meant to be there. It's like, what? This is rather strange. Did you try and do one? Did you try and call down someone and say, right, give me a sign?
Oh, I've done that loads of times. Different things.
Did you get one? No.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it's never. I want a €500 note to land on my computer screen. That doesn't happen. But like you can definitely convince yourself of strange things happening if you want to. That's the best way. I've had kind of stuff that is similar to what I asked for, that you could make a case for it, but not enough that would convince me of anything. That's probably the best way. But it's definitely worth doing. Like, what have you to lose? Like,
a limb.
Yeah. Your sign is you're now £1 million in debt. Now, you weren't expecting that, were you? The butterfly stuff that comes out of this, I've heard an awful lot of that before, and I don't know. I know it's one of the stories is a very kind of strange. The butterfly wouldn't be there, but I don't know, because you have an awful lot of stuff. I don't know if you've come across, maybe it's more the area I'm in, but people seeing white birds' feathers after people died, and that's seen.
No, I haven't heard that one. They bring up one in this that blonde medium brings it up. Actually, she says that pennies. And obviously that's the thing, pennies from heaven, but I didn't know why it was pennies from heaven. Pennies finding pennies on the floor or on the ground outside.
Yeah, would that convince you? What if €500 note would convince me? €500 from heaven, please. Pennies, not so much.
I don't know. I've never... I don't know if I've ever experienced that. Like, I know, like, after my uncle died and my granny died, I had dreams with them, all right.
Yeah.
But, like, you can put that down to a dream. You know, you can, like, you know. Like, I know there was a bit of guilt, not guilt, bit of a thing with me when my uncle died, and that it was just a shitty, awful disease he died from. And I wasn't old enough to be allowed kind of in the hospital to say goodbye to him.
Ah, right, okay.
But I had a dream then about saying goodbye to him. But like that could have just been me saying goodbye. Could have been him come to say goodbye. Well, not that I'll never know. I'll ask him if I ever get to see him.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
You hear some interesting stories though. My father's uncle, whatever, my granduncle, is that right? He had his best friend, you know, for 60 years, whatever it is, something like that. And he was sitting at the dinner table, lunch table, whatever, was having lunch, and there was a huge rat on the back door, like a big ba 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 ba, like unquestioned, no one there. And for whatever reason, took a note at the time, doesn't know why, whatever. But it was the moment your man died. So, you know, that's an interesting one. Yeah. That's
mad. There's something similar in this where there's a chap asleep in the bed upstairs and he hears a banging. And he's like, he wakes up and he's like, that's my brother. And the wife was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go back to sleep, will you? And then it happens again a few minutes later. No, that's my brother. He's outside. And like, the brother lived in fucking Norway or something. You know? Yeah. And then they figure out, yeah, shit, that's when he died. And it's like, killed himself. You know? Yeah. Very bizarre. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to that kind of stuff, but like, I don't ever want that to happen.
No.
Do you know, I don't want to wake up at night and just going, oh no, and trying to ring someone then. I mean, what kind of person doesn't have their phone on airplane mode at night time? That just blows my mind. So like, you know, you're trying to ring someone and the phone isn't ringing and you're like, oh no, he's dead. Not dead. I mean, just the phone is on airplane mode. Why is your phone on airplane mode? Because I'm not a psycho. Who leaves their phone on at night time? You might have weirdos.
Why wouldn't you just switch it off rather than leaving on an airplane though? Why waste the battery?
I don't know my PIN. Are you crazy?
Right. Why am I not surprised that you don't know your PIN? Jesus Christ. I'm not surprised at all.
No, I mean, the phone, you get these updates on the phone and you're like, fuck's sake. Now I have to go look for the box. The bloody PIN. I have it emailed to myself, alright.
But you can't look at it because it's on your phone.
Yeah, I can't get into my phone and my emails because it's on my phone. The mess, you know. There's never a dull moment. Spud Murphy's life.
No.
Do you know? The signs are good. Yeah, the cardinal thing, the bird. That I cannot help but believe that.
Yeah.
I cannot help.
It's very strange. And there's no way that that's. If at staged, it's the greatest staging of something I've ever seen in my life. There's like. And it just kind of fucks off in the end. Like, they're trying to get rid of it. Go, oh, here we go. And go, no. Hanging around for another while. But again, they have great satisfaction in it. They've got exactly what they want. It's exactly what they need it. That's going to change their lives. They can, you know, everyone's happy. You know, it's wonderful.
Imagine if it was in like an older culture, you know, like the Celts or like the Incas or Aztecs. They'd have eaten the bird. You know that?
What the...
Of course they would. Well, now she's a part of me. Should they used to eat their...
yeah.
Well, no, the Celts and the things didn't, but
maybe,
if you go back far enough...
Maybe that's what...
Go back far enough.
You see, the two women should have had
Maybe
the bird.
They were supposed to eat the bird.
Eat the bird.
Maybe that's what it is. And then Granny would always be in them. Well, for at least 2 or 3 days anyway. Shut up, Spud, will you? It's disgusting.
Right, so you're going to have to talk about the last two, because I haven't seen them. So
God, I'm trying to remember them now.
So it's Seeing Dead People is the next one. So I assume it's
they do they go
like
to
photography and stuff, is it, or is it actual people who can see?
They go to a house and they do some EMP readings and yada. And she does a thing that I hadn't seen before, that by turning on water. Turning on water? It's not fucking idiot.
Oh, how are you feeling, mother? Ooh.
Oh, I'm so wet. Oh.
Let's just turn the heat up here. Let's turn the heat up over here.
Hard, wet water.
Oh, the lime scale. Oh.
Give you some of my lines. Ah, don't
Yeah. Why is this water all milky?
Oh, God. Worse than I am now.
Sorry, I apologise to everyone.
What happens? I'm looking here. Yeah, so they go to and so she turns on the water, which I believe a tap, which I believe in Mary's called a faucet, which is a fucking hilarious word. Faucet circuits is in Ireland. You know, you have a tap. Anyway, and faucet. Turn on the faucet. Where's that word even come from? And
I'm sure it's French, is it?
Yeah. Don't they say garage in the wrong way? Is it garage?
Garage.
Why? Where's the French thing coming from? You're from Maine. You know, you're from Boston. My garage. You know. And anyway, I'm trying to remember what happened in this fucking episode. I'm buying time here. Like a bad
off
politician.
Americans. So she did something by turning on the faucet.
Yeah, they go to this like really haunted place that's well known as being haunted, and like they're surprised that they hear some sounds. But she has this trick where she says if she's not getting any readings, and she will
she makes them up.
she makes them up. Yeah, she'll turn on the water tap, and apparently
and then start recording some pipes. That's interesting. Yeah,
they hear the noise of the pipes and the water, and. Yeah, there was some photography stuff. Sorry. Now I got it. Now I remember. The photography one is... Oh, it's 99% believable. I really want to believe it. So, this chap moves into a house in LA or something, around there in the hills, and he has this... he's given this Polaroid camera.
No.
And so, one day he's there, and he for some reason he takes a photo of... Someone is standing in the kind of... The house looks disgusting because right beside their sitting room there's a toilet, and like that's always a bad idea, you know. But
right, okay.
But anyway, so in the doorway of this toilet, he takes a photo of someone, and then there's this shape or something. And it's like, okay, that's strange. And then they take another one, and then there's this other shape, and then they realize, there's something here. Let's take more photos, and then some writing appears and stuff, and then they start having these parties, and people come over with their Polaroids. And they're taking photos, and then they start getting these written messages. Now it looks like, you can do it now. You put your camera on a slow shutter speed, and you get a light.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Light thing.
Light trace, isn't it?
Light trace. That's called. Yeah, and you can write shit in the air, and then it'll come out. And that's exactly what it looks like. Although not as it looks more. The light on those things is usually a yellow light. This is a white light.
Okay.
And they spell out the name Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, and they couldn't find anyone who owned the house that was Wright, but they did find someone who was kind of connected. But like Wright's a fairly fucking popular name in fairness, you know.
Yeah.
And then so this goes on for ages, and your man is like, yeah, this is like the friendly ghost who would give advice, and he was kind of cool and nice, and we'd have parties and. You know, he'd do a party trick, all this kind of stuff, and it was great. And then fucking Kodak go and change the chemicals in the Polaroid cameras on the film.
Oh, right, yeah.
And
it all goes away.
Disappears. Goes gone. You can't communicate anymore.
That's a bit sad. Oh.
Yeah, it is a bit sad. But it was, your man is like, look, you can believe it or not. It doesn't really matter, because I have thousands, and he does. He has thousands of photographs with stuff on it. And it's like, yeah, okay, I can buy it. Now, it does, the photos you can definitely look at them and say, yeah, it looks like it's etched onto it.
Right.
But there's too many. No one has that much time to do like 3,000 photos and write random stuff on it. So, yeah, I thought that was good. And then the last one was Reincarnation, which is just solidified that I am now going to believe in reincarnation forever.
Right.
Because it's bonkers stuff that happened. Like kids just knowing stuff that they just should not know. Like one kid is like, one kid has this obsession with airplanes and the military, and he reveals a name, and then the dad is like, this is nonsense, what the fuck is going on? And then he says the name of what do you call the ships? The aircraft carriers, yeah? He gives the name of an aircraft carrier that wasn't really well known during World War II. And so your man just looks it up anyway, just to see if it did exist, And he finds that, this aircraft was in the vicinity of Iwo Jima, I think it's called. There's that Clint Eastwood film, Iwo Jima, isn't it? And
The woman from Iwo Jima, that song, isn't it?
I haven't a clue what's it. But anyway, it's where the lads put up that flag, that iconic image of,
the
war in the Pacific. And so they find out that from this aircraft carrier, only one fella died.
Right.
And it was this fella, James, whatever his name was. And this kid's name was James as well. He used to call himself James II, I think.
All right.
And James I was this, the dead pilot, you know. So, and the things get more intense, and he's really emotional, the kid, and he has this obsession with airplanes and kind of old-timey music and stuff like that. And he knows tons about his old family. Like, they go off and they meet the family,
right,
and the sister and all. And the sister's like, oh yeah, that's my brother. Yeah, definitely. Like, he knows. How does he know this stuff? Like, it's too much, you know. And so these two families kind of become close, and then they do this interesting thing. Then at the end, sorry, not at the end, but to give it some closure, they go off to, I presume it must be around Japan somewhere. I don't know that side of the world at all. I barely know. I barely know the towns in this country, and. So they go off and they hire a boat or whatever and sail out to roughly where he crashed, and they do a little ceremony, and the kid, sick bastards, they videotape it, and the kid is bawling. Right. He's in bits. He's only fucking 8 or 10 years old, so he's just, you know, it's horrific. And it's like, put down the video, you scumbags. That's horrible. You know, the poor kid. But then, as soon as they get back on dry land, then it's gone. It's over. Right. It's done. The ritual has given him rest or whatever, you know. And there's other ones as well. There's this little kid who knows that a kid like a couple of towns over had been killed, murdered, and he knew all this stuff. He knew all this stuff about this thing, and just bizarre, like strange as well. Because you know, from reading that book and listening to a couple of Buddhism type podcast, like something like the Tibetan Buddhists believe it's 49 days you have between.
Yeah, the Bardo, yeah.
And then other ones are like, nah, it could be anytime, could be tomorrow, it could be whenever, you know. And it's
well, we have the 3-day thing here in Ireland that I thought was universal, but it's obviously not universal. In I thought like the UK at least had it, but they don't have that thing at all. They can be weeks.
No, the English take forever to bury their dead. They don't have enough staff. They don't have enough morgues, and not morgues. They don't have enough undertakers and stuff like that.
Is that what it is?
That's what it comes down to. Yeah, but in Ireland, you have to be buried on the 3rd day, and
in accordance with the scriptures.
Yeah, you hear lots of stories of like people's animals and stuff. They sit by the grave, but on the 3rd day they're like, "Yeah, I'm out here." Yeah. But then again, dogs have very, you know, sensitive noses. Maybe they're just like, "Oh my god, the bang of this fella, this is rotten. Yeah, I'm out of here."
Yeah, it's an odd one. I'll have to watch Reincarnation one. Well, I'll watch the two of them. But the one kind of other thing is that how do we know it's, rather than it's reincarnation, how do we know we're not kind of tapping into the collective unconscious or something like that? That's an interesting kind of one. But why, if you were doing that, are you very specific to one person?
Yeah, it's exactly. Why are these kids that are in it so specific for one person? There was one fella as well who's like, he had this thing that he was a Hollywood actor, and they're like, get the fuck out of here. But he liked all this like 1940s, earlier 20s, 30s music. He would do like tap dancing. He was born tap dancing, basically.
Right.
You know, I know. But he had this, you know, kids born in the 90s or 80s aren't into these things. But this kid fucking loved tap dancing and these old styley films. And he gave a name, and they went searching for this name, and they couldn't find it. And then eventually they went into the academy, the awards people, found this name, and then realised he'd been in 1 or 2 films, but he was an agent.
Right.
And in the meantime, your man is given all these the kid is given all these details. Yeah, I had actors working for me. We had a set here, we had a set here, all this thing. And they go off, and they meet his surviving daughter, I think. And it's a very awkward meeting, like.
Right.
It's a very awkward meeting. And I think her half-sister, stepsister, something like that, asked him some questions and he didn't know the answer because he's just like, look, I don't know, like the stuff just kind of comes to me in flashes. And, you know, it mostly came to him when he was young. Like he's an old teenager in this one. Maybe he's 20 or something. So he's like, I don't really get the stuff anymore. So I don't, any details I've known, I've already giving them to people.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah, it's really bizarre. And then they're trying to match it up then as well with like his dad is quite religious. I think his mom's father was a pastor or something, and they're trying to match it up with the Christianity of it, just going because Christianity doesn't have reincarnation, but all the other ones kind of do, and it's there's an interesting study by a doctor in it, and he's just collecting case after case after case, and he would do these things where he would present photographic evidence of stuff, and he'd say, there's this little white kid, and he's talking. He's okay, who's your mom? And it's a black woman and a white woman. He picks the black woman. Okay, next, who's your dad? Black woman, white woman, black woman, or black man. And it's like it's bang on. It's like he thinks he's the reincarnation of this kid called Tommie.
Tommie boy.
And no, but it was like from the kid. I think it was the kid that had died or had been killed or something. He was black, and his parents obviously were black.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, yeah, he picked the right photos every time, like, And they kind of found this weird thing as well that the younger the kid was, the more correct they would be in their
right
in what they were picking, It's mad. Kind of freaked me out a bit because one thing that came up in it is that a lot of these kids have these night terrors, and like we're kind of having them at the minute. Well, they're coming and going with the youngest at the minute, and since then I'm like, when I go up and she's screaming, I'm like, I don't even want to wake her up. I want to do it as quietly or calm her down as quietly as possible, because if she's having some like past life thing, then like you don't want to step in and fucking traumatize her. What am I saying? What have you done to me, Tommy Kelly? God almighty. Oh,
I don't want to wake my screaming child in case some sort of reincarnation. What if I mess up my kids because of reincarnation?
Oh, I can't believe these words come out of my mouth. Yeah. Well, it's better than stuff going into my mouth. Wait. It's very good. Yeah, I think the reincarnation ones, the first episode and the last episode are the best. Seeing dead people. The medium one is just, I'm not into it. I just don't. There's not.
If there is better documentaries on mediums that people know, please send.
Yeah,
because I'd like to see one that's awesome. Like some old dude who just knows everything. Something like that.
But like maybe it's just one of those things that it's just like for there to be a smoking gun, you have to do it yourself, and like you have done it, and it was real for you. So I don't know. But like, as I say, I don't really want to go to one because
well, I have to point out, I didn't go to one to talk to. I didn't know she did the talk to the dead people thing. I was just going for the fortune teller for the crack.
Right.
And it came out. But it's I don't know what I think. Like some of it is obviously ludicrous. Like the Tommie boy stuff and all that. And there's definitely, when you look at some of the photos that have convinced people over the years of ectoplasm and stuff like that, that's terrible. Like it just looks so bad. But I don't dismiss it. I mean, if it is a case that if you die and that's not the end, then why wouldn't there be some sort of residue or some sort of thing of that? Well, so I mean, I think there is a logical, in a sense, argument to be made given certain premises of how you view the world. I definitely think 99% of it is people exploiting people, and that's horrible. Particularly when it's tragedy. Like no one's going to to a medium because their husband died who they hated. No one's going for good reason. Where's the fucking money? Just tell me where the fucking money is. Maybe people are. That I think probably is happening. But it's always like, oh, my son died young. My daughter. And it's like, oh God, what sort of a person would you have to be to sit there and go, and make up some story for your 200 quid or whatever? Like Jesus Christ. But
I don't know. Like kind of part of me is that like if I went to one of those things, like I don't know. Like, can we talk to St. Patrick or someone? Someone who has stories. Jimi Hendrix maybe. Jimi Hendrix is probably busy. He probably gets lots of requests.
Did I ever tell you my Jimi Hendrix channeling story that I have?
No.
So there's a friend of mine who I not grew up. I didn't at all. I met when I was 17 or 18, and we kind of ended up. living in the same different flats for a number of years. That just kind of one of those people. And his family were very interesting. His mother was a medium, and she could see her past lives and all of this kind of things. Although she couldn't see mine, all she could say is there's something Greek. I was going, that's not helpful. But anyway, so his parents split up or whatever, and she ended up going out with another guy who his name was John D. Isn't that interesting? But he was a musician, but he was he actually got into charts at one point with do you remember the Fuckle song?
Yeah.
He wrote a song saying I won't say the Fuckle song.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you told me about this fella before. Yeah.
But he has albums recorded that he has channeled. I'm not sure through her or through him of Jimi Hendrix, and I think he's John Lennon were the new songs that have come out or whatever. He's not a great guitar. No, well, he's not a great guitar player, so it's not like it's not the standard. But obviously, Jimmy has to take what he can. What he can get with regards to these kind of. I don't know how the telecommunication service is exactly. I don't think the other world has 5G just yet. So you just kind of. But I will say, all joking aside, it wasn't terrible. It was grand. It sounded exactly like someone writing a vaguely similar Jimi Hendrix song. Your cousin at the party who writes kind of vaguely Jimi Hendrixy songs that comes out in the acoustic. Like, not terrible, not brilliant, all that kind of stuff. But lovely guy, really, not mental in real life or anything, but just, and he had a recording studio built underground in his house, really interesting. Cool. We had plenty of time, that were like most of our conversations didn't involve any of that at all, but it's like, so it's just an interesting kind of a story. But it's funny when you think of it though. It's one of those ones that seems quite normal at the time, but when you try to explain it to someone, you kind of go, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, it's a man. I don't know. Like I say, I'd go to one, but it would be for shits and giggles, and I wouldn't really want to talk to anyone who I've lost.
You'd probably be better off going to like a seance and experiencing it. What other people maybe come through it. So you're not, you're participating, but you're not actually, waiting on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to examine this now. Why don't I want to talk to my dead relatives? Because leave them alone.
Well, what about Ouija board stuff or that kind of thing? So you can kind of just talk to any old demon who can haunt your house. Or whatever. Just open that door to the poltergeists, demons.
No.
Possibly invoke Satan and Lucifer, and just see how it goes. Just see how it goes. See if anything interesting happens.
No, thanks.
The Haunting of Spud Manor, a new Netflix documentary.
We'll get the American medium over, not the Dutch one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good series. It's the medium ones aren't good, but then again, maybe people that like that stuff would like it more. I don't know. Like Tommie says, if you know any medium documentaries, send them over because
I know.
Obviously, it's very interesting, but it's just that I don't know.
There's one on the skull experiment which we've talked about before, which is a book. It's just there. That's why I keep looking at it now. And that's interesting until you look into it, and then it's not interesting at all. I remember being very interested in wanting to get into it, and I was just kind of talking to our friend David Halpin from the Cult Book channel and Circle Stories, and he was just going, I read it, and it, don't waste your time. But I go, right, that's good enough for me. So I never actually read it, but I did watch. There is a documentary on YouTube about it, and they get lots of I think the word is apport, where things come from nowhere, and they've got stuff on camera and all that, but it's not really convincing. I didn't find it convincing anyway, but it's often touted as the most convincing of all of these type of things because they did it consistently every Thursday for a couple of years or whatever. So if there's a better documentary about that or something similar to that where there was sort of long term things, whatever, I definitely I'd love to. There has to be documentaries about that. There's
there has to be.
There has to be people doing that.
Even the stuff that we've done with the ghost boxes and all like that, we got some weird answers, but I'm still not really convinced because it's an app on your phone. I mean, can it be trusted?
The very funny one, I was talking about this strange the other day to Finesse, was when we went out to that house And I put it on the very first time, and the very first thing I said was, say hello to Spud. And I went, hello, Spud. And I was like, what? Yeah. We weren't even recording it. It was so funny.
Yeah, it's very bizarre, you know. But like, yeah, the stuff like that is you're very reluctant to dismiss stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then there's other stuff where you're just like, yeah, no. You know, and so like, what is it like? Because I find myself kind of thinking along the lines of like, it's like say with your average normal Christian, you know, they follow what they're told to do, but then you know they then some arsehole like me comes along and says, yeah, you know, you're not supposed to mix cloth, and you're also not supposed to eat prawns, and they're like, whoa, what? No, I don't follow those rules.
Here's a list of what you can do to your slave, just in case you needed that.
And you're like, well, I mean, you follow all the rules or you follow none of the rules. Like that's the thing in the middle. And so then with me in these ghost boxes, it's like either I believe it all or I believe none.
That's it. Yeah. But
which is it like? You know.
Yeah, but you're not. None of it's claiming to be the word of God, which is the difference between the Bible. Like it's the claim is that you're cherry picking things that you believe in to your thing. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it's quite the same. In that, I think it's okay to go. I think reincarnation is pretty good. That was good. It's okay to go. Those photos seem fairly convincing. The Tommie boy shit can go fuck itself because it's terrible. I think that's fair. But equally, you're not dismissing mediumship either. Like you're just going that particular interpretation of it.
Yeah. Hey, look, man. If I knew enough about soldering and radios and stuff, I definitely would have made my own scanner by now. I've looked into it and just went, no, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you can buy them, but like that's again you're up against
like €100 or something. And plus, it's like, no, I'd rather make because like you can buy radios for like a tenner. And just make your own, but like I just don't know enough about soldering and the wires and which one to do. I would
definitely want one that's mechanical rather than an app. I would more likely believe that. But again, you're going to suffer from pareidolia and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But at least you know, unless you design the app yourself, which I'm not capable of doing, you don't know what messages or what thing. Like you say hello Spud to an app and it says hello back to you. You go, that could be just programmed in it. You know,
exactly.
Like, and you don't know, and to say it, no, there's no sound and whatever. Yeah, there was one put up on the Discord recently. I'm going to look at it. So it seems some new app. I don't know if it's just Apple only or if it's on Android, but it's meant to be people are getting some interesting results with it. And it's been a while since we've done it, so maybe we should do something like that at some point as our next kind of experiment. Because I used to do a lot of them. They were fun, but they will only really work when you go back and paste the subtitle over. Which doesn't work so well as an audio only podcast.
Yeah, well, that's why I was thinking with like the next time we do say one of those conjunction thing. Well, it was a conjunction. But the next time we talk to someone, stuff like that, I think we should have cards with us. Whoever's doing it, like have a tarot deck, a 40 deck, and maybe the I Ching deck I have as well. And just as stuff has happened, just draw one and leave it aside and say, right, that's to do with that question. And and then put it back, and then we can come down and do it because I fairly sure that's what the Baptist Head lads were doing,
Right.
So yeah, we'll see. Right. Holy fuck, man! It's nearly 2 hours.
Sure, that's what we do these days. That's how we roll.
Yeah, I have to go off and watch that Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Oh yeah,
Morgan sent.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be the crack. Right then. Bye-bye.
Bye.